All right, we are live. This is Stormwatch Daily. Today's date is 3/7/2021. Today it's a bit different because it's a Sunday. So today I don't have any graphics prepared. Anyway, as we continue here, to move on, we're going to talk about the storm threat and we're going to hand it over to Isaac. Again, I am Storm Specialist Jonathan Mitchell, forecaster Ian. Go ahead, JD. So we're gonna give it to Ian. Isaac, not Ian. Isaac.
All right. Yeah. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on the model data here. The general agreement is that we'll be watching this a few waves here coming from the Rockies here, and obviously we'll have a surface low to track here as into late week. That will bring our potential for showers and storms to potentially sections of the Ozarks into the mid-Mississippi Valley here for parts of Wednesday into Thursday. So the way things are looking now, just overall, we can see we got a little bit of zonal flow here, and we can see we got a more elongated just ridge here. And the air's a little bit direction to the Kansas and surrounding plains into the Midwest. Our tail into the 60s here, and it's mostly dry. And further aloft, there are some further aloft. We can see this. Obviously, it's dry at the moment for much of us, and other than sections of the Northwest. We have some Pacific moisture and moisture from the slopes here, light precip over sections of the Northwest, but most of us are dry at the moment. We can see this is where we just sections of the plains here. We have some winds, some stronger winds there, and some dry vegetation there, where a lot of these winds are coming out of the west there. So when we get that dry,
and that's feeding
additive to the winds there. Yeah, I was going to say we do have some elevated fire weather concerns here, lingering.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Lingering into night into tomorrow, but as we get a surface low here, it looks like we'll be getting some moisture there ahead of that. So that's gonna help bring some clouds and help the temperatures and dew points the humidity will improve, and we're going to be watching the track of this fairly closely. We can see we got a.
Can I show something, guys? Can I show you something on fire danger? I was going to share your screen for a second. Yeah, there's even red flag warnings out here too, or in this pink color out here in the Kansas and Missouri area. I just got a text from that last night. So what do you think about that, Isaac?
Well, you can see we actually do have a fire warning there too. So I mean, we do have some fires in progress. Because again, it's relatively dry conditions there, and and normally in the fall into the spring there. Yeah, I was going to say that. Looks like, I was going to say, just passing along this development here, looks like the Shawnee County, looks like wildland fire is in progress here. Dover Township, just avoid the area.
I mean, this is, if you don't have to burn, don't.
Yeah, sure. So again, over sections of East Kansas, and the surrounding plains, that has been a concern. So like any fire that starts will like just the strong winds and everything, the low humidity, that's going to make it hard for those fires to be contained. So something we want to be very careful with, and obviously heading into tomorrow, just throughout the day here, we got that surface low from the Rockies there that is going to, again, the air's looks like ahead of that. We can see we're going to get some a little bit stronger winds here over sections of the Missouri Valley there, across parts of the plains there, and we can see we're starting to get in with some of this. We got some along the leading edge here, along this trough here. We got some moisture that'll advect from the Gulf there, and that will bring some shower activity to sections of the middle and upper Mississippi Valley here, heading into Wednesday morning. And we're going to be watching fairly closely the leading edge of this trough here, which we can see we're going to see some. I want to see if there's any good height fall. See if that converges here. We get so we got a cold front here at the surface there. We can see some and heading into Thursday, looks like what might be some obviously some mid-level, some convection, that we'll see some moisture advect here into this general region across Kansas and parts of Missouri there. And what we're going to watch fairly carefully here into, I want to see how this develops here heading into Thursday here. And we can see over sections of southeast Kansas, parts of Missouri and Oklahoma there. We do have some, definitely looks like out ahead of this, where JD is highlighted, some of the highest upper level instability, or rather, I should say.
Let me show you that again.
Well, yeah, it would, definitely show everyone just the values you were showing earlier.
Let me go find that. Okay, here it is. Let me pull up the supercell composite. This is what we use. I like using this one so I can get. Let me fast forward here again. All right, here it is. I'll have to share screens with you again. All right, here it is, folks. I'll pull my face up. Starting to see storms. Looking for Wednesday.
I will point out.
Storms already starting to belt Wednesday. That orange color there.
So yeah, when you're looking at those values there, I will point out that this would be Wednesday night, heading into.
And there's already a 6 there.
Early Thursday. Yeah. So I will point out that when you're seeing the supercell composite numbers of a 6, this is factoring in instability, lift, and shear with pretty much all the levels of the atmosphere. This is not confined to low-level instability, low-level shear, which generally would accompany like your tornado producers, your hail producers, your wind producers. But generally, what we're looking at there is, we do have a little bit of moisture returns there. Just looking at some of this GFS data, I'll pull this back up here.
Here's some
here's
sounding here.
Again,
here's a little sounding. I'll show you here. Let me get that pulled back up here. Here's a little. Here it is.
Just looking at that, the surface. Obviously, this is we'll see how this data trends over time, and that's going to help us determine what severe threat may unfold with this. But again, no guarantee that. Maybe we could see a local scale setup there, but we can see there. Just my thoughts looking at that. You can see the surface there is a little capped. I mean, so and the dew points are in the 50s. But what we want to watch is what's going on upstairs there. We can see some modest instability there further aloft. Or you can see that yellow dotted line and the distance from that line, and some decent lapse rates too. Just looking at how things are going further aloft. So I mean, and that air that's saturated there, about a kilometer or so aloft, and also want to talk about the shear that's in place too. That just the overall holicity is something that I'm interested in seeing there. When we get
something Thursday afternoon. Look here.
At least modest.
Look at that, more back.
Yeah, I was going to say there. Heading into. Yeah, I was going to say generally again when we're seeing those higher numbers, we definitely I'd see how that data trends over time because we haven't been highly confident about the setup here from Wednesday to Thursday, and I would assume Ian would like to follow up with some of that because I mean.
Okay, I'll let you talk, Ian.
I think there'll be a surface low over portions of Kansas. A lot of the atmosphere will be capped, but within that general vicinity of where that low is at, I think there'll be some low level lifting. And with those lapse rates aloft, I think that's going to allow the atmosphere to cool down through the low levels. And we'll be able to build some of that instability up aloft to where we can get these updrafts to really root themselves and produce a localized wind damage or tornado risk, but it is not
I'd agree
a
on
big
that
threat at all.
Yeah, I'd agree on that one too. What do you think, Jonathan? We were trying to talk, but we'll let you talk now.
Okay, let me tell you, supercell composite is not a good. Well, it's a good thing to use in the long term, but capping, what me and Ian have been posting, are the best thing to use when it comes out to this kinds of stuff. So, Ian posted something this morning, and he sent it to me, and I do agree because that's my thinking, and the thinking we've been looking at. For the past couple of days has trended down. Wednesday is less of a concern. Thursday, maybe something. Then Friday, we'll look at that line of thunderstorms with the cold front, and that'll continue through next Sunday. And then another system by Tuesday of the following week. So it's a lot to look out for. So what do you guys think?
I will most definitely point out here. I'm gonna share for a little bit just to we want to obviously this is long-term data, so we can't pinpoint
exactly.
We can't answer like will there be severe weather Friday. That's not a yes or no question right now. We can't.
We're just gonna say we don't know yet.
Absolutely determine that, but we will infer again. Just you're heading into the Thursday night. We can see maybe there could be some broad, a little bit of convective returns there, just along the lead edge of this trough, and just see how. And again, we want to. I'm interested in seeing a little bit of sounding data here, just for a little bit here. But yes, we will see there's a little bit of shallow instability. That not really anything there, but again, just. I'm just you can see just overall there is some we can see a little of elevated instability just overall. So I mean nothing that's I wouldn't really expect much of a severe weather concern here into the day on Thursday, just following up. But again, there's the instability and everything too shallow. But you can see just along the front in general, we do have some storms that may produce some localized some downdrafts, maybe some occasional showers, maybe a few thunderstorms there that may contain the potential for maybe some locally gusty winds and heavy rain. But we're gonna see we're gonna be watching this front here definitely very closely here on Friday. We can see some more broader moisture returns here with this. and definitely looks like we'll be watching the dynamics of this front here very closely here. Just
That one.
you
And
can
keep
see
in
here
mind,
this we got a yeah.
keep in mind,
Yeah, and looks like we got
on
a
a
dry
few of
line
this,
here, and
a few of the scans I've seen,
yeah,
the
so I
trough
mean,
is a little more negative tilted with that one.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we got a
Tilted
close
with that
low
one.
too. Just looking up here,
It's
and
not
just
vertical
the
stacked.
tight gradient here, and just seeing how on the backside, you know, this surface low and
The
everything, we got
deal.
all this dry air coming in on the
Yeah.
backside. So definitely a good return here. So I mean, we'll definitely see how this data trends. But I mean, I would be more than interested in seeing. You know, we can see we got decent sectoring with this. So I mean, just a broader. I mean, we'll see how far north we can see we can see a little bit of clearing out here. So I mean, this is where I would definitely pay closer attention to, particularly here heading into late Friday into into Saturday here. So we can see
And that's a
pretty
week
tight
away.
surface low here. Yeah, I mean it is a week out, so I mean this we're definitely this forecast will be fine tuned, but
Yeah.
seeing the indication here overall here
Looks like a
just depends
squall
on how
line.
much dry and yeah, and I would be interested in so what I mean here is we'll see how broad the uh, moisture and convective returns are, because that is going to definitely dictate any severe potential that we do get within here. And I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just
I
interested in
think so
viewing
too.
these products here. I don't expect a well organized severe potential here. I want to see what
Yeah, me too.
well, as of yet. And again, sometimes you get a decent forecast there with some surface dynamics, but sometimes what doesn't turn out it does, and this is your forecast busts.
Mm-hmm.
See how I'm gonna. What I would be interested in seeing is obviously the SB Cape returns and and seeing what directional shear we that might place here. Obviously, data will trend.
On some of the other ones, Isaac,
But yeah,
and the European has been hinting
my
this
thoughts
for a
are
couple
again
days
overall
now.
we don't. Yeah,
The European has hinted this for a couple times yesterday and the day before, and the helicity amounts with it showing up to around 800.
Wow.
But there's very low returns with the
is this like
instability.
0 to 1 or overall?
Mostly like 0 to 3, so that would be
Yeah.
more favorable for damaging winds. Not really a tornado risk too much.
Yeah, but see, you can only have 200 or 300 or 400,
Yeah.
and that's how you get storms going. So it doesn't take that very much, folks.
100, 700 with that.
Because I've been doing
Yeah, I was going to
forecasting for
say,
several
is
years.
upper level helicity too? Yeah. So here's my take on it. If it's low level helicity, that's the thing that your tornado threat would be contingent on. But upper level helicity, that's where you get maybe some of those stronger updrafts and often then what
That's what I
stands
mean.
towards is
It's
that you
more
have stronger updrafts, and then that becomes your damaging wind threat.
that's what I mean.
And you
That's
could
where
get
the
Yes.
some
800's
really
coming
intense
from.
hail out of some of that too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been tracking so
And
many.
you're just looking at
I've been tracking so many hail
Friday
events in
into
the past
Saturday.
year. I've been tracking so many hail events, Isaac, in the last past year. And I know we tracked one together last year that produced almost 2 inches of hail in Benton. Remember that?
Yeah, sure. So again, I definitely do take that you can see the SB Cape here. Obviously, there isn't a general consensus of. I mean, obviously, just the long range models. This isn't interpreted too good here, but we can see we can see some higher 600, 500, 600
Wow.
SB Cape returns. This wave here heading in. Yeah, this is Sunday 0Z, which would be late Saturday. But we can see just as this dry line does push through, and then obviously the get some colder air on the back side there. Oh yeah, definitely looking at yeah, the 10-meter wind shift west. So yeah, definitely at the surface you got a pretty good cold front here pushing through late Saturday over sections of Red River Valley towards the west part of the Gulf Coast states here, across sections of the south end to the plains as well. I mean, this is where you have that axis of
More moisture.
surface here. But again, contingent on what you got further aloft here, which I mean, obviously further aloft, I would expect, 500, 850 here. You got some really strong winds up here that are, we got that closed upper low, and all that dry and cold air further aloft is cycling into some of these areas. I mean, I think this is further north you go. That's where we have some more intense upper level again, just also just looking at some of the lapse rates, where you have those stronger profiles further aloft. So
let me be honest. Let me say this,
okay,
guys.
All right.
The
Jonathan wants to talk.
The Cape is highest, and I'm gonna just piggyback off of what Ian put on the feed earlier. The Cape is highest in Kansas, Missouri, and it's very short tip areas where Cape numbers are over 500. So it depends.
Wow.
But for the main threats we're looking at, I'm thinking marginal hail, isolated tornado for the first event. Second event, it's just wind and hail because that's a linear structure, which means the tornado threat will be very, very low through the weekend.
But never
this upcoming
zero.
Weekend. Yeah, never zero. There's a tornado threat with it, but it's not high. And the tornado threat from any of these systems is not high. And I'll tell you one thing: Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas will most likely miss out on both of the severe weather threats.
That's good.
But if you go up to Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, you'll have to watch those areas midweek, Isaac.
I think we did too.
No.
Yeah, I will point out here heading into midweek,
we got to watch out
fairly closely. And I mean, heading into this week here, heading into late Wednesday and Thursday here, I think the dynamics overall, I mean, I'm not expecting I'm not expecting any organized severe event here heading into the Midwest here in late Wednesday into Thursday. Maybe some embedded storms, maybe gusty rain, just your general activity here. But I would watch definitely the how things do trend
Wednesday,
here.
Here's Thursday. Here's something else I was going to show you guys. Here's Thursday. On the NAM model, showing me something. The significant tornado parameters. Look at this. There's even got a 1 there.
That's
generally
but
when you
that's
get
that's still like far out.
Yeah, that is definitely going to change. I will point out.
Yeah, I'm just looking at things. Here's the graphics on the NAM, and you can see we got a potentially tornado, it said.
So, I will point out with some of that sounding data that we're getting there, the dew points are definitely close to 60 there. Is that on Friday?
60. No, this is Thursday. I pulled out the supercell composite.
Oh, yeah.
No, the significant tornado. Sorry about that. And it takes it all the way through Thursday. See, it's very low, folks, because You just don't have that.
But we are
Just don't have.
also, JD, we're also not far enough into the period to really get
Yeah.
a hold of these dynamics too
Yeah,
much
I
yet.
know. I'm just looking at some things
We're
here.
not really home.
What's the moisture? We got plenty of moisture to work with.
Well, I mean, just overall, we do have some moisture returns there. I did show the GFS earlier here this on Thursday there. I mean, it's definitely contingent on a lot of the moisture you get within there. I mean, see how broad scale, just I mean that will dictate how organized your storms will be. We're not everywhere going to get anything like that.
And here's
I'm just
the deal.
saying that
And
get enough moisture that it vexed from the Gulf further aloft. I mean, there's a little bit there, that indication is there, but the question is, does all that grow upscale and all of that turn into it billows up and definitely ultimately grows upscale into what could become severe convection there. If it's just stagnant and there's little bit of moisture and not much lift instability
It's
and
really,
shear, which there is some decent, just very small window and small area. It's not something that we're getting too much of a return of. This is just something that we don't want to be like talking too much about.
yeah, I'd agree with that, Isaac. Yeah, let me pull him up here. Aaron, you want to say something?
and the deal is, it's mostly going to be capped.
Yeah, where nothing can feed through there.
The general area for this would be mostly centered on like southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. Like, I haven't been really posting too much on it, but it's just at some points it's a little necessary, but not much.
I do agree, because when you have a cap, yeah, folks, when you have a cap, you don't get many storms because storms can't feed in there. When the cap breaks, then you get storms feed in, and that's when you have a big explosion problem. Am I correct, Isaac?
Yeah, again, I will point out, the surface dynamics, not quite impressive, just overall, because what we want to watch, there is that broad indication there, just overall. I mean, they're going to watch that ladder wave fairly closely with just shortening things down to Wednesday and Thursday, just over that area in sections of Kansas and Missouri. What you got is a lot of that energy that's upstairs, like several kilometers off the ground, where most of that air is saturated and unstable and whatnot. But you really, that's where you got some higher lapse rates embedded within there. But what really matters is there enough moisture? Yeah, just looking at some of the sounding and just overall, we can infer that. I mean, there is that moisture available that advects at the mid levels, just along that surface low. But what we really want to pay attention to is, I mean, what is the forcing that drives that storm upscale? Are there broad enough returns up there where it does billow out, and we got some stronger lapse rates? And
yeah, let me show by this. See, this is elevated. This is day 4 and day 8. There's nothing there. There's really nothing there.
Okay.
In the 30% ring, and
it's really
so
what
good.
you're saying, Isaac. What you're saying, Isaac, is that you really want to watch how the low-level characteristics will match what the upstairs characteristics are doing, because even in such a poorly dynamic environment, you could still get a brief spin-up tornado if it does updraft root itself.
Yeah, and yeah, I will point out, just overall,
I do too.
Yeah, so again, the surface, you may not be talking much tornado fuel at the surface. Obviously, when you get more elevated instability and stuff, and shear, just overall, what you got upstairs, when you have a thunderstorm with
Just
a
mainly gonna
stronger
be a hit.
updraft, eventually you probably will get a stronger downdraft. But some of those strong winds from further aloft and all that elevated shear will at times mix down at the ground, and sometimes the temperatures and whatnot, the dew points may not be as favorable. But when that does happen, you could get just ahead of again, you could get some stronger winds that may feed in to the storms, and then the cap may briefly break, or just because of some of that mixing that does occur. And when that happens, there's some cool pockets there that form near the ground that will cause some surface-based lifting that may occur, and we get that inflow, and that could lead to a brief window where you could get tornadoes, even though the dew points probably aren't as high, yeah, exactly. You could definitely get some cool pockets embedded within there. So
that's what I'm watching for.
That does that.
Oklahoma had a similar situation a couple months ago like this, where the capes were really low, but there was a strong surface low driving these lapse rates, and there was tons of lift. Most of the area was capped, but you had a broad corridor, like you said, where you get these cool pockets in the low levels that was able to drive these storms a little more surface-based, where these winds were able to dictate the storm's updraft rotation and put a tornado down.
Yeah, definitely.
That can happen.
And
dictate.
So again, generally, in order for just as a rule of thumb, not saying that this is like in order for severe weather to happen, you have to have dew points in the 60s. I've remembered we've had severe weather events in the past with, the temperatures have been in the 50s. We mostly got hail, and
yes,
then there's a few that I remember we even had 40s, and there was one time a long time ago. I think this was well before anyone would probably remember. I think there was a brief severe thunderstorm that actually occurred, when it was snowing in the 30s somewhere, just locally. That was a long time. Like
that
really,
was heavy.
You want to have just impressive dynamics further aloft that really, you get some cool pockets there, and you may get some energy down at the ground, and those can drive a little bit of surface-based convection, and it's very rare just getting, it's
very,
the lower you get below 60 stuff, it's like you won't find, severe weather is common in that kind of environment, or surface-based severe storms at the very least. And then obviously if the atmosphere is capped, that really is a hint that you probably won't get much you probably won't get organized surface space. So just in general, especially when you're talking like your surface based, that's really contingent on that surface base lifting there,
right,
for when you want to watch for a tornado potential or anything that may be embedded within some of this activity.
Yeah, there was a picture of a tornado online, a video of a tornado in the snow a little bit. But see, there's no snow coming down. It was this one developing. Was that caused by? I just don't understand how can you get a tornado in the snow if it's just so, cold out.
Well, I will point out the air is saturated, not fully saturated with like at the ground, but at the low levels, you probably got some saturated air, and you got some effective inflow, and sometimes you get those cool pockets, and that can drive. I mean, obviously, the tornado risk won't really be that substantial when you get the temperatures that low or like at the cliff. But
I'm just expecting
also,
it to be a marginal setup, not really anything beyond marginal right at this time.
Yeah, definitely. Just
Me
saying,
too.
you know, this I mean, we're not getting broad enough convective, broad enough. Like, I mean, we're targeting just a fairly small region at this time. There's a very limited window to get things going. But again, just the overall indication is, you know, Wednesday in late Wednesday, heading into maybe a little bit of time on Thursday. Again, just we're mostly focusing on the dynamics that are in place further a lot. And again, if we ultimately get enough moisture that does and enough instability further aloft, which there is an indication that there early indications do suggest that, you know, the environment is, you know, fairly marginally favorable, maybe for a brief hail risk, but ultimately some threat for you know, just mixing down to the ground where you get those cool pockets, and that's where you may get a local damaging wind concern and a low confidence in things.
Yeah.
Just, overall, so not really much else worth mentioning at this point.
Okay.
But Ian, did you want to finish off there? Any else?
All I want to say is there is potential. It's there, but I don't expect it to be a really high chance, but we'll keep a watch out on it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, again, overall, you know, we're just briefly kind of following up with just how things have been going over the course of the early spring. You know, we're in this period of time where it's warmer. Well, we got some welcome days where it's drier. There's not really many concerns there when it comes to storms and such. But it is warm, and you know, it's pretty dry, and especially out in sections of the plains, you know, where we do have some low humidity and dry fuels that and hopefully everyone's adapting to those red flag headlines, especially those that are planning open burning, but also we definitely want to just following up with that again. We're entering that period of time where, you know, you get some you know, some more frontal convergence that occurs during the spring, and that interacts with a warm and definitely more humid environment that you know, and obviously heading into April and into the latter part of the spring, this could be definitely a very active season. Just cold, dry air overtaking warm moisture. That's definitely critical. And there are, you know, we'll probably definitely be active. I mean, it will definitely be cooler for much of the Midwest here heading into next week. So I mean, there is indication here with this next wave of precip there. If we get, if that, I mean, sometimes on the backside there could be, we're not done. Well, we're almost done with astronomical winter, and obviously we are in meteorological spring, but that doesn't mean we're done with just winter as a whole. You know, sometimes we do get some late season snows, and generally with this overall pattern, with some of that moisture that does, in fact, in some of that colder segments there with some of these storm systems, be surprised to find a light snowfall event or just wintry. We're still in winter, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that very closely. JD?
Yeah, speaking of snow, Isaac, and you're just talking about they can see a little light. I just talked to my meteorologist the other night by text, and he said, one of them that works there, that said, you know, we could just see snow flurries. I don't think there's going to be, this is my independent, I don't think we'll see any big snows for Illinois yet, because I mean they don't stay on the ground in March much unless we get another polar vortex. I think it's going to warm up, don't you?
Well, yeah, just saying, we'll probably get a few disturbances, just a more, elongated trough.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, into late season, that helps kind of cool
Mm-hmm.
things down a little bit. But sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you may get some of those clipper systems that may track over sections of the upper Midwest parts of the plains, which might
Mm-hmm.
occur here at times next week. Um, that could
Mm-hmm.
lead to actually some light wintry precip that could occur.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no high confidence or anything at this point in terms of like any significant
Yeah.
winter
And I
storms
got one
here,
more
but
thing
that
to say when you
definitely
get done.
indication there for some below average, slightly below average, and then maybe above average in precip just as a whole here heading into the next 8 to 14 day period over some of those areas.
You got any freeze coming in? Any cold temperatures? Like we'll see freeze watches or anything
No,
like that? Okay,
no.
that's good.
I mean, that's not until April, not March. We're not
Okay.
well into the growing season, and well, at least in the Midwest,
Okay.
well up here like Illinois, probably well definitely down in the South, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
like parts of the plains, and
Mm-hmm.
like definitely Texas. You think of Texas,
Yeah,
they just had a
Texas.
really they a deep freeze. I call it. The temperatures
Oh,
well
yeah,
down in
I
the
remember that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I got.
and then it caused all those power outages too, with all
Yeah,
that
I remember
snow and
that.
stuff.
Bad.
That's something you'd
That,
probably see once in every couple of decades. You get some
yeah,
of
well,
that cold down in
here's
February.
another. See, I got a lot of gardeners out there planting vegetables and stuff in the ground, and I think it's a little too early. I don't know about you guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, for corn and stuff like that. You definitely don't. I think you would probably be like late April up here. And
I
then
got a cousin
obviously it
that
gets
does that.
kind of knee high here by the end of in June, but well into July.
Yeah.
By the 4th of July, it gets like well past your
Oh,
hips.
yeah, hot.
I mean, just you gotta wait
Yeah.
until the latter part of the spring. When you get those warmer temperatures, and I mean, obviously, you
Mm-hmm.
want to keep a close eye on the drought monitor too,
Yeah.
because you gotta have all that welcomed rain. Just
Yes.
average rainfall is generally what you're looking out
Yeah.
for to really saturate the soils in there, and then that
Mm-hmm.
the corn, the roots and everything
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
to
I got
help
a.
grow that corn.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got a farmer in my family that starts planting corn in March sometime. If the soil, if it's real dry, they'll start fast. They want to be the first one to be done.
Yeah, sure. And again, you just want to be out of the way in terms of like hard freeze and things like that. You want
Yeah,
to make
that's
sure.
what we wait on.
I mean, we've had some days with temperatures in the 20s just recently, so we're not out of the
Yeah,
woods entirely in
yeah,
terms of
we're
like
not out of the woods because I
growing
remember.
season and things like that. Generally, you're talking mid-April. You're talking all those that warmer air that's good
Mm-hmm.
for growing and things like that. But obviously, it's fairly dry now. So I
Yeah,
mean, it's really dry out in the west. So I mean,
yeah.
that's it's that when it's dry, it's not a good time to
Mm.
start growing.
No,
It's really
that's
when
not
it's
a thing.
yeah, but also you really want to focus on when the temperatures generally you're not in like you could get a brief frost or two that may cause a
I
little bit of
agree.
harm to like more sensitive vegetation, but crops we don't
Mm-hmm.
consider that sensitive. Like when there's a hard freeze, it really does take it out. But I mean, if
Well,
you're talking
here's
like when the temperatures and stuff are like
yeah,
favorable, you're not in an abnormally dry period. That's when that's an ideal time. You really want to get plenty of rainfall in the growing season to really help the soils and stuff.
Well, here's one more story. See, when I was in 5th grade on Easter, I think that'd be 2007 or 2006, one of those years, we were in a deep freeze on Easter. We had freeze warnings that never expired because it was just, we were into this huge cold spell. So you think that would have been a low pressure or a polar vortex?
Well, whatever was going on, you definitely have those clear skies, just high pressure from Canada just hovering over where the heights
that
are
was a better
lower.
one.
Where generally you'd have like low pressure, upper level low pressure, but generally you get surface high pressure with winds coming out of the north from Canada, and then at the ground you get light winds and clear skies, and then all that long wave radiation there, it clears. It clears the ground, and all that warm air, insulated air, it escapes, and then just outlying air parcels near the ground. That's when that's what we're talking about with freeze and
Yes.
headlines, and that could really harm crops.
Yeah, I remember that year.
You get those.
Yeah.
The skies are like completely clear with all that, just further aloft, upper level, the upper level jet stream diverts all that solar, that solar radiation that helps keeps things warm, and provides that layer, that helps, it kind of acts as a blanket up there.
Yeah,
so you don't get too much long wave. You want to have kind of that. You kind of want to have that environment where there's, enough, enough solar energy to really help those temperatures be sustainable. Especially.
Well, see, my cousin didn't have no apples that same year when that big freeze came on Easter. He had no apples, no fruit as ever because the blooms when all we had all that that big huge freeze that year, the blooms on the apple tree just killed it. That freeze killed it. So I just tell you, it's not fun when you have a freeze that late. You definitely don't want that.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll point out that obviously we do have those periods of below average temperatures and everything, but again, heading into the latter part of the spring, with the above active, just in general dynamics for like, storms and everything, I think that's a good sign for the growing season. We need all that rain.
Yes.
April flowers, the saying, bringing
April flowers bring April showers.
Other way around. April showers bring May flowers. Yeah. But again,
that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, just in general, that's a good sign for the latter part of the growing season, especially, areas in the Midwest and everything, but yeah, definitely fair, we'll probably see above average just in terms of, that region where you get all that colder, drier air. It's separated by areas parallel to the Gulf of Mexico. And you just rule of thumb, you get all that colder and drier air. Those cool pockets and everything. Just like that setup that is being projected here into midweek here, and just throughout much of the spring. This is a time where things are trending to be slightly above average in terms of like. Rainfall and maybe in terms of severe weather, inferably. But again, I would expect the season to definitely peak in April. I think the latter part of the month, where things.
I'm ready to get into it.
Much warmer. Yeah, definitely lots to pay attention to and track over the coming months. But yeah, that's just the indications we've been getting. So we'll continue to keep everyone posted here about the developments here heading into midweek. Obviously, nothing that is I would consider feed worthy at this point, but we
Yeah.
will need to post and follow up. Just provide some general guidance here. Just
And we'll be back tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we will begin feed operations when need be. Just depends on the local mesoscale developments. If it turns into any headlines that need to be relayed, we'll bring them to you. Feel free to follow us on all of our social media accounts. We are conveying this over YouTube and much to Illinois Stormwatch and other social media platforms. We will continue to follow up, and we will see you soon.